Try the motel down the block, not here. The insult was not whispered. It was performed, loud enough for every guest in the marble lobby to hear. The clerk's smirk curled like the edge of a blade. His tone left no room for confusion. This was not policy. It was prejudice, rehearsed and ready. Hello, everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let us return to our main character. Imani Rhodes stepped into the Grand Sapphire Hotel with nothing flashy to announce her arrival. No gold chains, no luxury bags. Just a long gray coat and a steady posture, quiet enough to be overlooked until she reached the front desk. The lobby was hushed but watchful. A chandelier hummed overhead, every crystal trembling in the air conditioning. Guests shifted in their velvet chairs, sensing the tension gather like storm clouds. The clerk lifted her card between two fingers, sneering. "Cheap tricks," he muttered, loud enough to travel across the room. Imani did not react. Her voice was calm, anchored. "Run my name." He shook his head, mocking. "You will not waste my time. People like you never in a penthouse." His finger pressed a button under the desk. Somewhere behind the wall, a buzzer screamed. Security was coming. One guest by the lounge lowered his newspaper, staring now. Another raised her phone, pretending to check messages but clearly recording. Their eyes flicked from the clerk to Imani, as if asking silently, "What will she do?" Imani slipped her card back into her coat. Her hand brushed the phone in her pocket. A faint glow lit the fabric for only a second. Protocol armed. But what protocol? What did that mean? The clerk leaned forward, lowering his voice as the buzz of approaching footsteps filled the marble hall. "Your kind always tries this. Tonight we make an example." Two uniformed guards appeared, their shoes striking the floor in rhythm, closing in. Imani did not move. She glanced once at the camera phone raised across the lobby. Her expression did not change, but her words carried. "Keep recording. The truth needs witnesses." The clerk frowned, uncertain for the first time. What truth? The chandelier above flickered, one crystal going dark. A guest gasped. And then the guards reached for her shoulder. Cut to black. The guard's hand gripped Imani's shoulder. The crowd shifted with a gasp, as though the marble floor itself had cracked. Phones tilted higher. Whispers became a low current sweeping the lobby. Imani did not resist. She stood as if anchored, her silence sharper than any protest. The clerk leaned forward with a grin that could cut glass. "See? Fraud meets consequence. This is how order is kept." One guest in a navy suit muttered, "Order?" loud enough to carry. His phone camera was now pointed directly at the desk. The second guard reached for Imani's other arm, but then froze. A sharp flicker lit up the chandelier above one bulb, dimming, then another. The lobby's grand light faltered for a breath. Guests murmured. The guards glanced upward, uncertain. Imani's voice broke the silence, low even. "You are making a record you cannot erase." The clerk scoffed, waving to the guards. "Take her out. Let her explain herself on the curb." But before they moved, a chime echoed from the desk computer. The screen, half hidden from the crowd, blinked with a line of text. One junior employee saw it first. Her eyes widened. She whispered, "That cannot be right." The manager snapped at her. "Mind your station." He slammed the monitor dark with one strike of his hand. Phones in the lobby caught the moment half a second of a message glowing blue. But the words were too quick, too unclear. The woman recording near the lounge gasped, "Did you see that?" No one was certain what they had seen, only that it did not belong. Imani remained calm, eyes steady on the clerk. "Run my name," she repeated, voice carrying further now. The manager's jaw tightened. "Your name has no weight here." The guard tugged at her arm again, rougher this time. Gasps echoed. A child in the lobby asked aloud, "Why are they treating her like that?" A mother hushed him quickly, pulling him close. Imani tilted her head toward the phones raised around her. She spoke with precision, "Do not stop filming." The clerk turned, irritated now by the growing audience. "None of this matters. In 2 minutes she will be gone." 2 minutes. The phrase hung heavy in the air, as if a clock had started. Imani closed her eyes briefly, lips moving in a whisper no one could catch. When they opened, Her gaze was sharper, more certain. The chandelier above flickered again. This time, 3 bulbs cut out at once. And just as the guards prepared to drag her toward the door, another sound struck the lobby. A sharp digital tone from somewhere unseen. Guests turned, searching for its source. The manager paled, recognizing it instantly. But the crowd had no idea what it meant. Not yet. The tone echoed again, sharper this time, bouncing off the marble walls until even the chandeliers seemed to tremble. Guests looked at each other with wide eyes. A murmur rippled across the lobby. The guards froze, glancing back at the front desk for direction. The clerk's face drained of color, though he forced a brittle smile. "Ignore it," he barked. "It is a system glitch." Dore, but no one believed him. Imani's gaze stayed locked on the darkened monitor behind the counter. She spoke evenly, every word deliberate. "Glitches do not carry signatures." The clerk stiffened. "What did you say?" A woman filming near the lounge whispered to her companion, "She knows something." Her phone caught every second, every flicker of light above. Then, from the corner, a junior concierge shifted nervously. She had seen the message that flashed earlier, the blue text the manager tried to hide. Her lips parted as if to speak, but the manager's glare pinned her silent. Imani tilted her head slightly toward the young woman, then back to the clerk. "Erase the screen if you want. The record is elsewhere." Whispers surged. Phones tilted higher. The crowd was no longer pretending. They wanted to see how this ended. The clerk slammed his palm against the desk. "Enough. She has no reservation, no right to stand here. Remove her." The first guard stepped closer again. His hand hovered near Imani's arm. The second guard, however, hesitated. His radio crackled faintly at his side, static mixed with half a phrase, "Override engaged," before it cut out. He frowned, adjusting the volume, but the signal died. Imani looked directly at him. Her voice was calm, but it seemed to reach further than the chandeliers above. "You heard it. Override engaged. This moment is already bigger than this room." The guard swallowed, unsure. The other tugged harder. Gasps rose as Imani's phone buzzed inside her coat pocket. She touched it lightly, the screen glowing for a heartbeat. Another fragment of text appeared before she slipped it away. 2 minutes complete. The clerk leaned forward, mocking, but his eyes betrayed doubt, counting down to nothing. Yet his words shook, and as the chandelier flickered again, this time leaving a quarter of the crystals in darkness, another sound broke through. A heavy click, mechanical, from somewhere deep in the building. The crowd stiffened. No one could place it. But Imani's eyes did not move. She whispered one line just loud enough for the phones to catch. "Now you will see who is truly locked out." The heavy click echoed like a vault sealing shut. Guests froze, turning toward the walls as if the sound might repeat. It did not. Instead, a low hum began to crawl through the vents, subtle but unmistakable, like machinery awakening. The guards looked at each other. The one holding Imani's arm loosened his grip without meaning to. The other glanced at his silent radio, tapping it once, twice, nothing but static. The clerk slammed his hand against the counter. "Do your job." His voice cracked, betraying strain. But the crowd was no longer quiet. Phones pointed openly now. Someone whispered, "What does override mean?" Another said louder, "She warned them. She knew this would happen." Imani remained steady, her expression calm as if the entire lobby had slowed to her rhythm. "You cannot throw me out," she said softly. "The building already knows who belongs." Her words unsettled the clerk. He sneered, but sweat edged his brow. "Stop speaking riddles. This is nonsense." "How is that?" A woman near the lounge, still recording, shouted back, "Then why did your screen go dark?" The question spread. Guests murmured, nodding, remembering the flash of blue text. The young concierge behind the podium shifted again, her jaw tight. She almost spoke, but the clerk's glare silenced her once more. Then another interruption. The lobby lights flickered. Not all at once, but in deliberate rhythm. 3 pulses. Pause. 3 more. A pattern. Guests gasped. One whispered, "That is not random." The guards hesitated again. One muttered under his breath, "It feels like the system is locking us out." His words were not meant for anyone, but the nearby phones caught them. The clerk barked, "Ignore this circus." He turned to Imani, his face red. "You do not belong here, admit it." Imani tilted her head, eyes fixed on him. "You want me to say I do not belong? Look around. Ask them." Her gaze swept the lobby. For the first time, a few guests nodded. One man in a business suit raised his voice. "She checked in, did she not? Why are you still holding her?" The clerk faltered. His script was slipping. Another sound broke the tension, the distinct chime of a phone. Not from Imani's pocket this time, but from behind the desk. The junior concierge's screen glowed, her eyes darting to the message before she quickly locked it. The clerk snapped. "Hand it over." His voice rang with panic. She clutched it tighter, whispering, "No." "Daddy-do." Gasps spread again. Someone filming whispered, "She saw something." Imani's calm deepened. Her voice was quiet, but it carried. "The system sends truth to those willing to see." The clerk stepped back, as though the ground beneath him had shifted. "Enough," he barked at the guards. "End this now." But even as he spoke, the hum in the vents shifted into a deeper resonance, vibrating faintly through the floor. Several guests reached for their belongings nervously. A child tugged at his mother's sleeve. "Why is the hotel buzzing?" No one answered. The chandeliers flickered again 3 pulses, then silence. And then, across the lobby, the elevator doors slid open by themselves. Empty. Waiting. The sound of the machinery settled into stillness, as though the building itself was holding its breath. Imani did not move. Her eyes stayed fixed on the glowing elevator. The crowd followed her gaze, hearts caught in the pause. Something was waiting inside. But what? The elevator doors stood open, hollow and waiting. The golden interior glowed against the dimming chandeliers, casting its light into the lobby like a stage calling for its actor. No one moved. Guests stared, their whispers turning into nervous questions. "Why is it empty? Why did it open now?" The clerk's voice cracked as he snapped, "Do not look at that. Stay focused. Guards, remove her." But the guards hesitated. The one nearest the elevator kept glancing back at the open doors, his hand twitching at his side. The other shifted uneasily, muttering, "It feels wrong." Imani remained still, her eyes fixed on the glowing threshold. She spoke softly, words that carried farther than the clerk's shout. "Every system has a memory. Doors do not open for strangers." The young concierge clenched her phone tighter. Her screen flickered again, another notification sliding across it before she quickly dimmed the display. She bit her lip, torn between silence and truth. A guest in a dark suit stepped forward from the crowd. His voice was steady. "This is not how hotels run. If she has no reservation, explain it. Show the record." Murmurs of agreement followed. Phones lifted higher, angles catching both Imani and the clerk. The clerk's face reddened. He jabbed a finger toward Imani. "She is a fraud. This is a stunt. The systems are malfunctioning." Yet even as he spoke, the elevator chimed softly, as though answering him. A second set of doors opened across the lobby, this one leading to the executive floor access. Empty again. Gasps rippled, guests now openly questioned. 2 elevators? Both empty? Why do they open when she speaks? Imani's gaze shifted briefly toward the concierge. The young woman looked down, her knuckles white around her phone. For a heartbeat, her screen reflected a phrase in blue, but no one close enough could read it. The clerk lunged, trying to snatch the device. The concierge stepped back, clutching it to her chest. "No!" The word cracked through the lobby louder than intended. The crowd reacted, voices rising, siding with her. "Let her keep it. Stop hiding the screens." The guards froze again, caught between orders and the eyes of dozens of witnesses. Their radios hissed, useless static. Imani finally moved. She took one step toward the glowing elevator, calm and deliberate. The silence that followed was heavy, as though the entire building leaned in. The clerk shouted, desperate now, "Do not you dare! That elevator is locked!" But before he could finish, a low chime rang out from the overhead speakers, smooth and deliberate. "Access granted." The words were synthetic, mechanical, undeniable. The clerk staggered back, his denial cracking. "That is impossible." Guests erupted, phones flashing, capturing every angle. Imani paused at the elevator's edge. She turned her head slightly toward the clerk, her voice still steady. "You wanted proof. The building provides it." The hum in the vents deepened, vibrating through the floor once more. The chandeliers pulsed again 3 flickers, then darkness swallowing half the lobby. Gasps rose, some guests screamed, and as silence fell, a low grinding sound began from deep beneath the marble floor, as if something far larger than an elevator had just awakened. "Part sao nở ti?" PN, E, Part 5, sau khi há thê nàng vang lên. Access granted, VT, N có khờ, hel N vang ra thê, du, N, B, U khương, khờ trong S, nhưng, tr, N, lo, N, I đung tê, P trong vos, chia phê, chê, A đâm, M, T, S, B, N, phê, chê, Imani Rhodes, S, ko hang manglo, MTVI manch, IHL, nung chua D, I high, U2, N, C, N, H, chi, D, ND, T, sang, Part 7. Part 6, Imani Rhodes, 500 words, English for U.S. YouTube audience. The grinding noise deepened, resonating through the marble floor like the heartbeat of something vast. Guests clutched their belongings, some stepping back toward the doors, others holding their phones higher. The clerk's face was pale now, sweat clinging to his temple. "This is a malfunction," he shouted, his voice brittle. "Everyone remain calm. Security, do something." 10. But the guards hesitated, their radios hissing static. One of them whispered, "It is not a malfunction. It feels directed." Imani stood at the threshold of the glowing elevator, her posture calm, her voice steady. The building does not respond to fraud. It responds to truth. A woman from the crowd raised her phone higher. "Then why did it say access granted? Who was it talking to?" The question echoed, unanswered. The junior concierge, trembling, glanced once at Imani, then back at her phone. A new message had flashed across the screen. She caught it, just for herself. Her lips parted, but she bit them shut, fear locking the words inside. The clerk lunged again. "Give me that phone." She pulled back, whispering, "No, not this time." The crowd stirred. Guests exchanged looks, muttering, "She knows something. What did she see?" The grinding below shifted to a sudden halt, then silence. Heavy. Expectant. Everyone waited for the next sound. None came. Instead, the chandeliers flickered again, this time not in threes, but in a slow, deliberate sequence. One light at a time, cascading across the lobby, as though spelling out a message only the building understood. Gasps rippled. Someone whispered, "That looks like code." The clerk's composure collapsed. "This is a trick. It has to be a trick." Imani finally turned from the elevator to face him fully. Her eyes held steady, unshaken. "If it is a trick, then prove it. Show them the system logs." The clerk froze, his lips parting but no words forming. The business-suited guest spoke again, louder now. "Why will you not show us? What are you hiding?" The tension snapped. Some guests sided with Imani, demanding answers. Others, frightened, backed away toward the doors, whispering about leaving. The lobby had split into two currents, one of belief, one of fear. Then, before anyone could act further, the elevator chimed again. But this time, it was not empty. Every head turned, eyes straining. The doors slid wider, revealing a faint blue glow inside, like the light of a hidden screen waiting to be seen. The crowd gasped in unison. Imani stepped forward, her expression unreadable. The clerk shouted, "Do not go in there." But the question was already alive in the room, vibrating louder than his denial. What was inside the elevator? The blue glow spilled into the marble lobby, soft at first, then pulsing as if alive. Guests shielded their eyes, straining to see what lay inside the elevator. Imani stood at the edge, the calm center of the storm. Her voice was low, certain. Truth always finds a door. The clerk snapped, "Do not listen to her. This is staged, hacked screens, fake lights. None of this is real." But the crowd was no longer convinced. A man with a raised phone muttered, "That glow is not a screen. It looks deeper." His video streamed live, comments flooding across the screen. The junior concierge pressed a hand over her mouth. The same blue light shimmered faintly across her phone, syncing with the elevator's pulse. She whispered, almost to herself, "It is connected." The clerk lunged toward her, but the guards blocked his path. Confused, sweating, they seemed unwilling to act without clearer orders. The hum from the vents deepened again, this time vibrating through the glass doors of the lobby. The chandeliers flickered once more, 3 pulses, a pause, and then a single, long flare. Gasps followed. Someone shouted, "It is signaling something." Another replied, "But what?" Imani took one step into the elevator, the glow reflected in her eyes, steady, unwavering. The clerk's voice cracked with desperation. "If you go in there, you will not come back." Imani turned slightly toward him. "Perhaps that is what you fear most." Her words cut through the silence, drawing another wave of whispers. Then the elevator speakers chimed, smoother than before, every syllable crisp. "Verification pending." The phrase echoed through the lobby, startling guests. Phones caught it all. The clerk shook his head violently. "There is no verification. She is nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing." "Do it." But the blue glow brightened, forming vague shapes across the walls inside the elevator symbols, unreadable from the lobby, shifting too quickly to capture. The junior concierge clutched her phone tighter. A new alert slid across her screen, words she read silently but did not share. Her eyes filled with disbelief. She looked up at Imani. The hesitation was gone. But before she could speak, the lights in the lobby snapped off, plunging the room into sudden darkness. His screams echoed, phones shook, cameras catching only fragments of the glow. And then, just as suddenly, one single light above the elevator remained casting Imani in sharp relief against the void. Her calm voice broke the silence. "This is only the beginning." Darkness held the lobby like a clenched fist. Only the elevator's blue glow remained, casting long shadows across velvet chairs and marble floors. Every phone in the room recorded shaky beams of light, fragments of faces, fragments of fear. Then the voice returned, smooth and mechanical, echoing through the silence. "Verification in progress." Gasps rippled. Guests looked around, whispering, "Verification of what? Of who?" The clerk's voice cracked, louder than he intended. "This is a farce. She does not belong. None of this belongs." But the building seemed to ignore him. The chandeliers pulsed once in unison, despite half their bulbs still dark. The hum through the vents deepened, like breath filling steel lungs. Imani stood calm in the center of the glow. Her voice was soft, but it cut through the noise. "You demanded proof. Proof answers in its own time." The guards wavered again, caught between orders and the silent rhythm of the room. One finally muttered, "Why does it sound like the building is listening to her?" His words, picked up by a dozen phones, only spread the unease. The junior concierge's screen flickered again. She gasped quietly, then pressed the phone tight to her chest. A single word had appeared before she hit it. "Owner." She did not dare say it aloud. Not yet. The crowd stirred. Guests were restless, murmurs louder now. Some believed, pointing to the lights and the synchronized hum. Others scoffed, demanding the guards act. The lobby split deeper, belief against denial. Then the elevator's glow shifted, brighter, sharper. Strange symbols rippled across its walls, moving too quickly to read. Phones captured them, but the footage blurred, as if the shapes were not meant for outsiders. The mechanical voice spoke again. "Verification incomplete. Additional confirmation required." Gasps spread once more. Someone shouted, "What confirmation?" Another answered, "It is waiting for her." The clerk, desperate, pounded the desk. "Stop recording, all of you!" But no one stopped. If anything, more phones rose. Imani took one deliberate step deeper into the light. The glow wrapped around her, almost recognizing her presence. Her calm expression never wavered. "It knows," she said, voice steady. "The question is whether you do." Her words unsettled the entire room. The clerk stammered, "She is bluffing. She cannot prove." The speakers cut him off with a sharp tone. "Confirmation source pending arrival." The lobby erupted in whispers. "Pending arrival? Something else is coming?" The clerk paled, stumbling back from the desk, and as silence fell again, the revolving glass doors at the entrance gave a sudden, heavy shudder, as if struck by a force outside. The revolving glass doors trembled again, each pane rattling in its frame. Guests stepped back instinctively, clutching their phones tighter. The hum in the vents deepened, echoing like a distant drum. Then silence, every eye fixed on the entrance. The doors spun once, slow, deliberate, and a man in a dark overcoat stepped through. He was not security, not a guest anyone recognized. His face was unreadable, his steps measured, as though the chaos of the lobby did not exist. The clerk seized the moment, his voice high, frantic. "Yes, this is the confirmation. Tell them she does not belong. End this now." But the man did not look at him. He walked straight toward the elevator's glow, the blue light dancing across his coat. He stopped a few feet from Imani, his eyes scanning her face. The speakers chimed again. Verification link established. Gasps surged. The crowd pressed forward despite themselves. Who is he? Why does the system recognize him? Imani did not flinch. Her gaze held his, calm and certain. You know what the building confirms. Say it. The man hesitated. His hand twitched at his side, as though weighed down by something unseen. The blue glow from the elevator pulsed brighter, sinking with his breath. The junior concierge's phone lit again. A new phrase flashed across her screen. Linked identity, active. She clapped it shut instantly, her face pale. The clerk barked, "Speak! Tell them she is a fraud!" But the man said nothing. He glanced once at the crowd, then back at Imani. His silence spoke louder than the clerk's panic. The system chimed once more. Secondary confirmation required. Groans rippled. Someone shouted, "Another one? Who else?" The clerk's composure crumbled. This is endless. It is theater, nothing more. Who? Yet even as he raged, the chandeliers flickered again. This time the lights did not pulse, but shifted in color, an icy blue that matched the elevator's glow. The crowd gasped, their fear mounting. Some backed away toward the doors. Others surged closer, desperate for the next revelation. Imani finally spoke, her voice steady as stone. The truth never arrives alone. It always brings witnesses. Her words left the room hanging in breathless suspense. And then, from outside the lobby, another sound cut through the night heels, striking marble, deliberate, closing in. Every head turned to the entrance. Another figure was arriving. The sharp rhythm of heels striking marble grew louder, each step echoing like a countdown. The glass doors turned once more, and a woman in a tailored suit stepped into the lobby. Her posture was flawless, her expression unreadable. The clerk gasped with relief. Yes, finally. Tell them she has no right to be here. But the woman ignored him. Her eyes went straight to the elevator's glow, then to Imani, and she stopped. The blue light touched her face, reflecting in her calm gaze. The system chimed immediately. Secondary verification initiated. The lobby erupted in whispers. It recognizes her too. Who is she? The man in the dark coat shifted slightly, as though acknowledging her presence. The two locked eyes for only a moment, silent recognition, heavy with meaning. The clerk shouted, "Speak! Both of you! Expose her!" Neither answered. The blue glow inside the elevator pulsed stronger, symbols racing faster across its mirrored walls. Phones struggled to capture them, the footage blurred, distorted, as if the shapes resisted being recorded. The junior concierge's phone buzzed again. She glanced quickly, reading the new message. Identity match, partial, awaiting final key. Her breath caught. She whispered to herself, "Final key." But she snapped the phone shut before anyone could see. Imani stepped closer to the elevator, her voice calm. You brought witnesses, but truth requires courage, not silence. The woman in the tailored suit finally spoke, her voice measured but firm. The system confirms presence, but presence is not yet ownership. The words sliced through the lobby, deepening the mystery. The crowd buzzed. Some leaned closer, desperate for more. Others pulled back, unnerved by the cryptic exchange. The chandeliers flared once, then dimmed again, leaving the room caught between light and shadow. The system voice returned. Final confirmation required. Source approaching. Gasps swept the lobby. Another one? How many confirmations are there? What else is coming? The clerk, his face breaking with sweat, screamed at the guards. Stop this! Drag her out before the next one arrives. The guards moved, but hesitantly. Phones blocked their path, guests pressing forward, unwilling to miss what came next. Imani did not flinch. Her gaze held steady as she said quietly, "You cannot stop what is already inside the walls." And then, just as the guards reached for her, the floor beneath the lobby gave a subtle tremor, a vibration too deliberate to be ignored. The crowd fell silent. Something else was on its way. The tremor grew, faint but undeniable, sending ripples through the polished marble floor. Glassware on the lobby bar rattled. Guests clutched their seats, some whispering prayers, others refusing to lower their phone. The clerk stumbled back, his voice cracking. "This is madness. You are all watching an illusion." But the system interrupted, the voice calm and absolute. Final confirmation en route. The words landed heavier than the tremor itself. Imani stood rooted in the blue glow, her expression steady. Truth arrives last because it ends the argument. The man in the dark coat lowered his head, as though acknowledging her words. The woman in the tailored suit crossed her arms, silent but unshaken. Their presence no longer seemed accidental. The chandeliers pulsed once more, not flickering now but shifting in color blue, fading into white, white sliding into gold. Guests gasped, some pointing upward. The junior concierge's phone buzzed again. She dared a glance, and her breath caught. Final key. Activated. Awaiting delivery. Her hands shook as she locked the screen, but her silence told the crowd she had seen something extraordinary. A guest shouted, "What is the final key?" Another cried, "Is she holding it? Is it her?" The clerk seized the moment, pointing at Imani. "Yes, she is lying. She planted all of this. Drag her out before it arrives." But no one moved. The guards, pale now, kept their distance, glancing nervously at the glowing elevator. The tremor surged again, stronger. Dust drifted from the chandeliers, the marble beneath their feet groaning as though a hidden engine stirred below. The crowd pressed closer despite their fear. Phones rose higher, streams broadcasting worldwide. The tension was unbearable. The speakers chimed once more, final confirmation entering vicinity. Every head snapped to the glass doors. They shuddered violently, the revolving panels stalling, then pushing slowly as though resisting a force greater than themselves. The clerk screamed, "No! This cannot happen! Stop it!" Imani lifted her chin, calm and resolute. You cannot stop what you never controlled. The doors finally cracked open. A cold draft swept into the lobby, carrying the weight of arrival. The glow from the elevator flared brighter, syncing with the tremor, the chandeliers, even the phones in people's hands. Everything pulsed as one. The crowd held its breath. Someone was about to step through. The glass doors groaned, then gave way. A figure stepped through, not hurried, not hesitant. A woman in a midnight blazer, holding a sleek case in her hand, walked with quiet certainty. The tremors faded as soon as her heels touched the marble floor. The system voice rang out. Final key delivered. Commencing confirmation. The crowd gasped. All eyes shifted from the case to the elevator's glow. The woman approached Imani, offering a nod of recognition, then opened the case. Inside lay a card, etched with circuitry, pulsing faint blue. She held it out. Imani accepted it without a word, sliding it across the scanner embedded inside the elevator wall. A pause. Then the building itself seemed to exhale. Lights across the chandeliers blazed to full brilliance, vents silenced, and the marble underfoot steadied. The speakers delivered the verdict. Verification complete. Owner confirmed. Imani Rhodes. The lobby erupted. Gasps, shouts, disbelief. Phones captured every second, streams exploding with comments. The clerk collapsed against the desk, his face draining of all color. No, this cannot be. Imani turned to him, her posture unbroken. You told me to try the motel down the block, but you forgot this block belongs to me. Silence struck harder than any shout. Guests stared, stunned, as the truth settled. The man in the dark coat and the woman in the tailored suit stepped closer, now revealed not as strangers, but as executives, guardians of the system. Their silence had been part of the process, their presence required for verification. The junior concierge, trembling, finally spoke, her phone still glowing with the last message. It said owner, and it was her all along. Imani nodded gently. Thank you for choosing truth over silence. The clerk tried one last protest. You staged this. The elevator doors closed behind her with a resonant chime, cutting him off. The blue glow faded into gold, final and absolute. The system spoke one last time. Authority transferred, locks reset. And in that instant, the guards stepped back, lowering their eyes. The staff froze, realizing their roles had just been rewritten. Imani looked once around the lobby at the guests, the witnesses, the phones that had recorded every second. Her words were calm, unshaken. Dignity does not ask for permission. It claims its place. With that, she stepped into the elevator as the doors sealed shut, leaving silence in her wake.